Hi, this is Chris from Pie for Breakfast Studios. In this video, we're going to show you how to play La Mancha, our award-winning storytelling game for 3 to 5 players based on the classic novel Don Quixote. La Mancha comes with over 200 hand-illustrated cards. These cards span 3 decks. The Treasure Deck and Knight's Gear cards, which contain gear that players can win and use to make their knight stronger. The Chivalry Deck, containing quotes from actual books of chivalry, such as Tarrant Leblanc and Amadis de Gaul. Players use these cards to respond to story prompts and interfere with other players' progress. And the backbone of the game, the Journey Deck, featuring people and situations that a knight would find in their travels. This deck contains feat cards, which players can earn to win the game. The goal of La Mancha is to be the player with the most feat cards at the end of the game. Players can earn feat cards by using their strength and outwitting other players, but more on that later. Players first choose how many feat cards will be drawn from the Journey Deck before the game ends. 3 feat cards make a 1-hour game, 5 for a 1.5-hour game, and 7 for a 2-hour game. Then players take their starting armor, lance, and steed from the Knight's Gear cards. Players are then dealt 5 chivalry cards each, which will be their hand. The player who most recently read a book about knights takes the turn token and goes first. They draw a card from the Journey Deck. And they draw an encounter! Encounter cards describe a thing or situation that a knight would see on their journey. The player who drew the encounter is now the judge. The other players take turns telling the judge stories, containing a phrase from one of their chivalry cards about how their knight would respond to the situation described on the encounter card. The judge picks their favorite story. The winner draws 1 card from the Treasure Deck, and the judge gets to take one of the chivalry cards played by the other players as compensation. After each turn, players either draw or discard chivalry cards so they have a hand of 5. The turn token is passed to the left, and the next player draws from the Journey Deck. The next card is a love card. Loves are characters from Don Quixote that players can earn the favor of. They give players extra strength and special effects to help them win the game. The player who drew the love card takes on the role of that character, and the other players must woo them by creating poems that include the text from 3 of their chivalry cards. The judge picks their favorite of the poems. The winner gets the love card, and the judge can keep 2 chivalry cards from those played as compensation. Now it's a few turns later, and a feat card appears. When a feat card is drawn, the game enters the feat round, where all players compete to win the feat card. Starting from the player who drew the feat card, players take turns rolling a die. They add the result to the number on their treasure, love, and Knight's Gear cards. This is called a feat attempt. If that value is higher than the feat's difficulty, the attempt is successful. Players can also play some chivalry cards that have special effects on them during this round to mess with other players' progress or defend themselves from other players' attacks. Once a player makes 2 successful feat attempts, they win the feat. At the end of the game, the player with the most feat cards wins the game and knightly glory! We hope you enjoyed this look at La Mancha. Stay tuned to Pie for Breakfast Studios' website and social media for more information on this and other great games.